In the previous lesson we have seen and we have learned how to convert .asp to ASP.NET file. We have seen the advantages from migrating to ASP to ASP.NET. One thing you have to remember is when .aspx file is accessed for the first time, it is compiled into a DLL, and this DLL stands for Dynamic Link Library. This DLL contains the page object. So when a HTTP request arrives on port number 80, IIS will receive the request and it will look for the file. If it is a first request, the file is compiled into a page object. This object is given a name. Let us try to print the name of the object that is generated for us when we access the file for the first time. And in all further requests for the same file, if there are no changes, then the same object that is created earlier will be used. Otherwise, if there are any changes in the file, then recompilation takes place. Again a fresh object is created. This object which represents the page is called page object. This page object will generate HTML for the browser. By using a function in the page object called render method. So when render method is invoked from the page object, the HTML is generated for the browser. So HTML is present in the browser on the client side, but the actual object exists on the server, that is page object. So let us verify this, whether the page object is created or not, by printing the name of the page object. Let us create a new file. So this is an ASP.NET file with extension .aspx. So let us begin all the way from first. So every ASP.NET page begins with > language is equal to either C# or VB. Since we are using C#, we'll use C#, and it should have page keyword. We should not forget to write page keyword. This is very important. And since it is a normal HTML file, it should have HTML tags. Inside HTML we have a body tag, and inside body tag we have a form tag. Every form tag, form tag should be declared using runNet equal to server. We mentioned this point and we'll mention it again. In ASP.NET file there can be multiple form tags, but only one form tag can have runNet equal to server. So we have written one form tag with runNet equal to server. I am not specifying any ID because ID is optional. Moreover, I won't access a form tag from server, so I won't give any ID. Now I want to print the name of the object which is given to the page object, which is generated from compiling this page. So when you are inside the page, that means you should assume that and you should believe that you are inside the page object. So now this whole thing is nothing but a page object, and you are inside the page object, and from inside the page object you want to access the name of the object. So from inside the object, how do you access the object? This keyword. So this keyword will point to the current object. So to print the name of the object from within the object, write down this dot get type dot to string. So this is a statement. This will access the current object, current page object. It will generate the type and it will print the type in string format. But to print on a web page, there is a function in ASP.NET called response.write. So this is response.write, similar to console.writeLine, which is used to print in console mode, whereas response.write is used to write on the web page from within the web page. Since we are writing C# code inside HTML, we have to enclose this using markup. So you have to write C# code inside this percentile tags inside form tag. Now let us save this, all files. So I'll give a name hello world 6.aspx. So this file I'll deploy it in server. I'll send a request for this file. So that will be our first request. So when a first request arises for a .aspx file, that .aspx file will be compiled and a DLL is generated. Within the DLL, a page object is created for the current page. Let us go to IS, refresh the virtual directory. So here we have hello world 5.aspx. Browse the file. So it is taking some time. That means it is compiled and we have displayed the name of the file. So the name of the object, not file. This is the name of the object that is generated after compiling the .aspx file. Now let us try to print the base class of this object. Copy this, write down base type dot get type. Go to IS, refresh it, right click, browse. So there is a confusion here. It is printing on the same line. Let us go to Notepad. Let us write a break statement. So this will print the name of the object which is generated for us at runtime after compiling the page object, after compiling the page, and this will print the base class of that page object. Save this, go to IS, refresh it, browse. So this is a page object. After compiling the page, this is the name of the page object which is obtained after compiling the page. Our page is hello world 6.aspx and this is the base class of that page object. So in this way, let us try to print all the base types of the page object. So we can print the base types by using base type keyword. So I have written 5 statements. Go to IS, refresh it, right click .aspx, click browse. So we have forgot to return break statement. Let us go to the notepad. Let us write break statement after printing each and every line. Save this, go to IIS, refresh it, right click, browse. So this is the lineage, the hierarchy of the page object. Our page is hello world 6.aspx. So our page object name is deriving from the file name as well as virtual directory name. The base class of this page object is system.web.ui.page. The base class of system.web.ui.page is template control. The base class of template control is control. And the base class is object. This is the final base class of the page object. So in .NET everything derives from object, even the web page also derives from object. If you try to access the base class of object, it will give an error. It will say that object reference is not obtained. So I'm writing one more statement here. I'll try to retrieve the base type of the object class, and let us try to refresh it. See here, there is object reference not set to an instance of an object. Null reference exception. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. This is because base type object does not have any base class. After object there is no base class. So the first line is printing the name of the page object that is generated by compiling the web page. The page object base class is page. The page base class is template control. Template control base type is control, and control base is object. And after object there is no base. So everything in .NET, even a web page, also derives from object. We should not forget this point. See here, we have written C# code inside form tag. That is the reason why we have written these markup tags inside form tag. So inside HTML we have written C# code. This method of programming is called inline code model. What is that called? Inline code model. There is one more type of method called code behind model. We'll see that. So in inline code model we have C# code inside HTML. You can also separate this a little bit. We'll separate it from HTML, but definitely in the same file. So for that we'll copy this and we'll write a script tag. It should be declared using runnet equal to server. I'll define a function here. So this is a function called display. So we'll invoke this function from inside the form tag. We'll call this as hello world 7.aspx. In hello world 6, our C# code inside form tag. Now we have separated C# code from the form tag. We have written it in a separate script tags. and we are invoking that function from inside form tag. So this kind of programming is called inline code model. In inline code model, both HTML and C# code are present in the same file. There is a disadvantage of inline code model. It becomes congested if you write both C# code and HTML within the same file, and it will get confused. So we should always try to separate C# code from HTML. Separating C# code from HTML is called code behind model. We'll do that in the next lesson. Thank you for today.